All right, everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to the afternoon session. We're here to close out the week of trading for another scalping session of the Nasdaq 100 futures. We're looking at the 30-second chart as usual. We'll be looking for short 5-point scalps off of this chart. We're generally doing one-to-one trades, so it's a 5-point stop loss with a 5-point take profit. And yeah, we're just looking for trends and looking for sweeps of opposite directions. And I'll walk you through all the setups as we go along the session. But welcome to the afternoon. Happy Friday, everyone. Yeah, I'm just looking at the activity we had since the lunch session. I know prior to lunch, we were looking at, we had shorts. We had 3 consecutive shorts, which worked out for us, worked pretty well. And then we saw a price kind of stall and retrace right as we were getting off. So let's now just pay attention to how price was trading throughout that session. We did see the high set at noon. We saw that swept at around 12:30, and we saw lower prices afterwards. And we continue to see lower prices even to this moment. So as of now, we're definitely bearish and looking for shorts. I did speak briefly this morning about the silver bullet. I'm sorry, not the silver bullet, but the TGIF setup, which is when you have a weekly candle that's trending Friday afternoon and it's near its either high or low. You look for a 20% retracement during the afternoon session, which will close out the week and create the wick. So that's what we're seeing now. And I did try to map out what I thought that level was. And I thought, let me try it again. I think it was 760. 760. Let me pull up the weekly chart and we'll just take another peek at it. All right. That's all right. So we have our high. Let's now change our Fibonacci. So we have a different level to look at. Okay. So this is where we are. Probably about halfway there. 20% retracement I was just speaking about is at 16,760. Right, so we're about 50 points off of that level right now. So let's see if price continues lower. Let's expect it to at least get to around 760, 780 to 760. It could retrace further, but let's be a little cautious when we get to that level. Okay, let's drop back down to the 30-second. Back, let's remove some of these lines that are down low we don't need. Okay, let me just take a peek and see if we have a setup potentially. All right, so before this low, let's see what the previous low was. Previous low was here. Now we've had highs taken. Now we're just looking for another low, and then potentially there's a setup. If we take the low that was before this one, which was this one here, we had a sweep of that low. Let's see. We did not have a high swept prior to making more lows. But now we definitely have a high swept with this one here being swept maybe 4 or 5 minutes ago. So let's delete some of these lines so our chart is clean. So remove that out of the way. We know that the high has been swept. Okay, now we're just looking for a new low. And then potentially we have a short setup. Okay, we see now we're more than 50% retracement in this zone from the last high to the current low. We're waiting now for a lower price to be put in. So we're looking for a price to dip below 16,798 and a half. If we can get it to dip below there, then we'll look for a short setup. Okay, still waiting for price to make a decision on whether it's going to go higher or lower. During the lunch hour, we saw seek out lower prices, and so we were looking for that to continue. But before, we need a new low to be placed. So we're waiting for the purple line down at 16,798 and a half to be traded below. From there, we'll start looking for short setups. Okay, we continue to monitor price. It looks like still doesn't want to break out of its current consolidation. So this seems to be the high of the range, and this seems to be the low, and it's just sitting in this little box. So I'm going to mark it up here, so we have a better idea of when we should look for a setup. I mean, I do have the low end of the extreme and high end marked up, and you can see that it's trading in the middle of this zone. I'm also going to put a Fibonacci on so we can see where it is in this retracement. Okay. Okay, we've crossed over to 71%. Now we've gotten a complete retracement, so let me remove. Okay, we can drop this, move this out of the way as well. We have a new high, which then potentially is shifting us back to bullish momentum. So we want to pay attention to that, not jumping any longs. But let's jump up and look at a few more time frames. Like the 1 minute. Okay. Okay, 2 minute, not quite, but the 1 minute definitely. Let me mark up this fair value gap and see if this provides any support for price. We want to see what happens now. Does price raise to the lows? We got relative equal lows here. It's quite possible that this run up that we just saw was to take liquidity from the lunch hour for anyone who was trailing their stop as price was making lower values. They just wanted to go and take those people out as it continues on its way and ensure that few traders are still in line for a short. All right, I'll remove this fair value gap. Looks like, actually, you know what? Let me leave it there. Maybe it's going to be reclaimed. Let's see if this candle can close above. Okay, sweet. Let's see if this fair value gap stays open, because there was a bearish one on the other side that it quickly reclaimed. So let's see if it stays on the other side, leaves this one open. And now we already have higher values. Okay. So we actually have a setup. I'm not going to take this one. I just want to watch price a little bit longer just to make sure that we are going up. But what I can do is to set up the long tool right here, the 30% retracement, which is what we would be looking for. So this is what the trade would look like if I was going to take it. I would now wait for price to retrace back down, tap into 30%, and hopefully put in a higher price, at least 5.25 points above. Okay. So now let's go back to the 2 minute and see. Okay, so now the 2 minute has broken structure. 3 minute, not quite. Okay, there's a bearish fair value gap here on multiple time frames that we want to be aware of. So let me mark that up. It's here on the 5 minute. It's also on the 4 minute. It's a little smaller. Back, let me do that. 3 minute, a little bit smaller than that. It's about as high as I want to go. We have the 5 minute down in the left hand corner. But it's always good to get some confirmation from some other time frames just a little bit higher that you're moving in the same direction and looking at the same thing. So now we're getting that retracement. Let's see if it taps into the 30% level. Let's see what the reaction is from there. Good news is we do have this fair value gap. So if it taps in, it could find support with the fair value gap and then buy out, which is what we would like to see. Thanks for the likes, everyone in the chat or in the live stream now. Appreciate it. Okay, we didn't quite get the retracement we needed. It looks like it was about a point away, maybe a couple ticks. Yep, 2 ticks away. I'm tapping us in. It's a bearish fair value gap here, so maybe we'll get another push downwards, which would then activate the trade anyone who wanted it. We get a new high put in. Not that we're in a trade, but we'll sort of disregard this one for right now and look and see if there's another setup that's a little bit higher. Want to remind everyone who was not on the morning session, during the morning session, we did highlight the fact that a new high was put in for the week. So the high from Thursday was already taken as well after the 10 o'clock hour. So we're not extremely hopeful that we'll put in higher prices, not ultimate highs. Price may just kind of play around in the zone and range for the afternoon, or it may seek out lower values. Okay, let's see if we can get a push down to this entry area. Okay, in the next couple candles, we should see a breakout. Okay, we have price doing this number. So at some point, it'll collapse onto itself, and it needs to break out one of the sides. Okay. If anyone was waiting for that trade at a 30% entry, you'd be in the middle of the trade now. Okay, that would have been a losing setup. Okay, 50% also would have lost. 70% would still be in. Okay, let's get rid of these fair value gaps that didn't hold. Okay, so full retracement here. All long attempts from any retracement level would have occurred a loss on the 5-point stop loss. So what we'll do is we'll just continue monitoring price and look for another setup. We did have another market structure shift. So we had a low taken, which created this high. So now we are potentially bearish again. But again, we're back in this same area that was consolidating at the start of the hour. We broke out and thought maybe we'd be looking for longs, but it looks like now price has just traded right back into the area. Just remove some of this so it's a little cleaner. Now let's not forget, I did just mention we put in the high of the week, the high of the month, the high of the year earlier just before lunch. And that may have been the ultimate goal. And so higher prices may not be where we're going for this afternoon. And this was merely a retracement from the lunchtime hour. So let's Fibonacci this again. Just to see where we are. Okay, price traded up. There was a fair value gap. It looks like, no, it didn't get there almost, but it did make it to about the 61.8 level. And then it rejected off. And now we're trading back into this consolidation zone down here. I'm not a trader. Okay. Not sure what you mean by that, but thanks for the comment. I don't think I have to take every setup to be a trader if that's what you meant. Also, judging by your username, it seems like you are a mentor of some kind. So not sure why you're in this channel. All right, looks like it's coming out of the consolidation zone. So we want to see if it can make a new low. If it can make a new low, then we'll be looking for short setups. All right, move this out of the way. We can also remove this consolidation zone. It's no longer relevant. Those equal lows have now been taken. So now for a short setup, we are looking for a high to be swept. When we get a high swept, we'll look for a new low. And from there, we'll go with a short setup. This dash line you see here, if I'm not mistaken, just give me a second. I believe it's the midnight open. Yep, So that's where we are now. This purple line you see is the midnight open. So we are right back where we started at the calendar day. Let's not forget the TGIF setup that I mentioned. The 20% retracement is around 16,760. So we about 15 points away from the low of a minute ago. Swing high, the closest one to where we're trading from now. Okay, let's chip this down, and swing high is now located here. All right, that swing high has now been played through. We're now looking for new lows. If we can get a new low, then potentially we have another setup. Oh, it's grabbing my short tool, and it's already made a new low. So in that case, we're going to set up this here. Short tool will go there. Oops. Oh, we made a low there. Let's make this larger. right. Oops. All right, so 30% didn't work out. Looks like 50% is going the same way. Price is now buying up out of here. We see it reach 16,764. I was targeting 16,760 as the TGI Friday retracement. So based on where we are now, let's not look for any other setups, and let's see if this is the low. So this would have been what the objective was for the afternoon, potentially. So let's just monitor price for a bit and just see where we land. Drop. Just want to drop down to a lower time frame. Let's see. Okay, we just got a strong candle here. Big push down quickly, and then a rejection above the previous fair value gap. Let's see if that was a prelude for what's to come, or if it was just a rejection and now we're going to see higher prices. Okay, we're getting a sharp push down now. All right, I just wanted to check and see if we reached the 50% mark on this wick, and we did. Just a couple ticks below. Let's now wait for a reaction and wait for further confirmation on the direction of price. Okay, we can see that lower prices are being sought. Remember, 16,760 is the 20% retracement for the weekly candle. That would be our TGI Friday setup, which would be the target for this afternoon session. Now, price can continue moving past that, but that would be the minimum expectation was 20%. Even this week we had before, where it was a couple points away. I mean, that would have qualified if it didn't make further lower prices. But if it continues down to just a couple more points, that's exactly where we thought it would go. But let's also bring our attention to another area, which is this yellow shaded area on the bottom, down at the lower end of the screen, around 16,742. That would be our new day opening gap. So the gap that's created between 1700 close and then the 1800 reopen of the market. All week long, if you've been on the session with me, every day we've seen price return to those levels and play off of it. And today may not be any different. So let's just also be aware of this level and that price may want to become a magnet toward and trade down. But we did get a new low. So I just want to point that out. Let me remove this line, remove this one, clean up our charts a bit. Okay, we're closing out the 1 o'clock hour. We got about 2 minutes left before 2 o'clock. Alrighty, let's throw this weekly candle up one more time. Let's look at where 20% is. Now, let's make it even larger. Let's make sure we can see it clearly. All right, 20% retracement is at 16,760.5. Okay. Oh, okay, let's make sure we got it exact. Okay. All right, I think we're there now. All right, 761 and a half. That's where we are. So that's what we were looking for on the weekly candle. So let's go back to the 30-second. Let's just see where we are now. So this low that we had, if you look up here, right here, for the low, when I put it over this candle, it's 762.5. 20% retracement was 761.5. So we may see lower values and we may not. But either way, that objective has been met. Is that a real account? I didn't show an account at all. I'm not sure what you mean. If you're asking, am I trading real money? I'm trading I'm in the middle of a funding challenge right now. If that's what you're asking. This is directed at Slim. Okay, we're almost 5 minutes past the hour. We saw price take out the low from around 145, swept those lows twice. Now we see price gaining momentum to the upside. Still hasn't put in new highs yet, but it is approximately halfway between this leg down. No, it's a little bit higher, so it's about 60% retracement net right now. But it hasn't let us know whether it wants to go lower or whether it's going to go higher. I mean, it could just retrace for the rest of the week. I mean, just today we've had the yearly high, and we've also had the weekly TGI Friday 20% retracement. It happened just on this candle right here. So just 5 minutes ago. So you've had your low objective met, and you may have had your high objective met. So for now, let's just wait and see what price wants to do. It'll give us an indication. But we don't want to force anything. Let's not get impatient and jump into a trade. Yeah, we want to see price. If it's going to be bullish, we want to see it break through, push to the upside, and not continue to just kind of coil in on itself. All right, we got declining highs, almost equal lows. And still waiting for price to react and show us a clear direction. So far, it has not done that. So we're just sitting back and just watching the candles print, and we'll wait and enter once we have a clear indication of where it's going. All right, we see price trickling up. It's getting closer and closer to taking out this high that was created just before the start of the hour. If it is able to eclipse this high, we could be looking for higher prices. Um, but we'll still have to wait and see because price could just retrace back into this same zone and just stay here for a while. So again, we're not gonna chase price. We're not gonna look for a setup until we get a clear indication. Okay, will we get a break of the high now? Almost there. Okay. All right, so let's just kind of recap where we've been in the last probably hour or so. Really, the last half hour, right? In the last half hour, we've seen a low put in, and we've seen a decent size retracement where there was a high place. Then we saw the previous low swept right here, full retracement back down. And then from there, we saw price then run for these highs. So we saw low put in, a high put in, low swept, now high swept. So now let's see if price wants to continue upwards or if we see another retracement back into this zone, right? Let's keep in mind this dash line down at 16,778 is again the midnight open. So that's where the calendar day began. Not necessarily the market day, which started at 1800 yesterday, but the calendar day started at midnight and we retraced all the way back down to that level. Bought up a little bit out of it, but now let's see where we go from here. All right, so on its way up, I was just looking at all the lows on this entire leg. and none of the lows were swept on the way up. Not a single one. And this is the first one swept. So as soon as they made a new high, the previous swing low just before that high has now been swept. So now let's see if price continues upwards. Yeah. Yeah, I think what we had, Muhammad, during the lunch hour was we had a retracement for the TGIF setup, which is generally when you have a long or when your weekly candle is near the end of extreme, whether it's a huge bullish candle or an extreme bearish candle, you'll see a 20% retracement in the afternoon on Friday, or anywhere from like 11 just before lunch through the afternoon session. You'll see a 20% retracement, and we just saw that. And so once that reached the 20%, I realized at that point that price could really do anything because the afternoon objective was complete. And now we see it producing higher prices and just took out the previous swing high. And now we're just monitoring to see if we get higher prices. If we do get higher prices, it would not surprise me if today closed somewhere near the top of where we were, or if maybe even higher. And it's just because I've seen enough Friday afternoons to know that it's possible. Just mark up this fair value gap that it's in now, so we can see when it exits. You're in a long one mini. Chris, where'd you enter? Did you get in, I think, here? Or did you catch it up here? Oops. Give me this one. Oops. All right, there. And then you have this one. Oh, at 800. Okay. Sweet. Okay, let's see if this fair value gap can hold and we can make a new high. All right, let's see if we, okay, so we had a sweep of this low and then potentially it's going to seek higher prices. I think I missed one fair value gap here. I think I like this one. Oh, okay. Alrighty. Yep, it is Friday and it's December. Everyone is feeling good. Let's see if it taps me in so I can join the party. I'll just join in, see what happens. In the event that it trades down, I'll have two contracts. Yeah, way to go, Chris. Appreciate you. See if we can get a push above these highs. All right, I closed one of the contracts for $250 gain. I have one open now for a almost 4-point gain and take profit at a 30-point gain. Oh, appreciate it. Thank you, Ennis. Let's see. 5-minute fair value gap. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. There's a lot of a lot of bearish fair value gaps here. So I just looking for a nice profit to just take into the weekend and set up for next week. In fact, let me move this to 5 points now. There we go. Okay, everyone, let's keep an eye on the clock. It's 2:30. All right, we'll take 550 on that last contract. Yeah, Chris, I'm in the same boat. Wow, you hit 42.50 this morning? Jeez. Wow. The trend is your friend, as they say. All right, so Chris jumped in, called out a trade, and now we have twice as many people watching. That's awesome. That is awesome. Hey, Joe, welcome. Welcome back. Yeah, we just jumped out of a trade. Chris and Anis was talking about taking longs, and that they felt like price was going to push up and run into the highs of the day. And so we all, well, not all, but some of us took longs from around 790 to 800. I had two contracts. I'm already out, but some may still be in. Oh, it's significant of the limit. So for the 150,000 challenge, you have to get $9,000 to pass the challenge, but no more than 50% of your gains can happen in one day. So you're kind of capped on how much you can make in one day. Oh, welcome back, Rock Bottom. Thanks for the analysis. Appreciate it. Yeah, I am almost back to where I was yesterday. So today I pretty much dug myself out of all the losses from yesterday, which wasn't a max loss day, but it was significant. I'll say that. And today I have managed to dig myself out and get back to where I was prior. Yeah, you're right, Chris. It does rally really well a couple times a week. Um, and the really seasoned traders, that's what they do. They sit back and they wait and they take one or two trades a week and they wait for to find exactly what they're looking for. And then they enter a trade. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And they move on and they come back the following week. But they're not actively trading the market every hour the way we do. Yes, I'm. I think I will have a great weekend. I'm gonna. I mean, if I see a setup, I'll take another scalp. So I may look for a scalp here. But yeah, it was a good session and it was a good trade. I appreciate your analysis on that. I've had enough of those too, where you come in on Friday and you're doing okay for the week, or maybe you're a little bit down for the week, and before you know it, by the end of the day on Friday, you've hit your max loss or blown your account. I've seen that before, and I know how that feels during the weekend because you can't do anything about it except review your mistakes and try not to make them anymore. All right, anyone still in the trade? Chris, are you still in? Let's see. Let's look at what this retracement's looking like. It's right around 30% now. Let's go and look at our OTE. Right, this is where 50% is. Yeah, me too. Me too. Holding 2 minutes in practice. Two minis. 2 minutes. Okay. Think you just may be rewarded for that, Chris. I need to grab my water bottle. Give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, new short-term highs. See if we can get a break above this fair value gap. Yeah, I agree. Not always, but in a lot of cases, even if the fair value gap is not going to hold, you'll still see a small reaction from it. Like what you mentioned here. Let's see what this 826 and a half came down to 821 and a half. And then the next candle, 821 and a quarter. So that was 5.25 points if you took a sell off of the very edge. So, so yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a small scalp to be had on a lot of fair value gaps. That's probably not a bad back testing exercise for the weekend. Yep. And definitely, if you wanted to take it off of the middle, the 50% mark of the fair value gap, that would have produced profits for this one. Came right to the edge, would have tapped you right out. Oops. Oh, why did I make it? Yeah, there we go. I knew something looked wrong. Okay, here is that swing low. Okay, it opened above. It swept the low, left a wick below, and opened above. Let's see what this next candle, where it closes. Okay, so if we look at the lower left on the 5 minute, you can see what's happening. We essentially have two fair value gaps sitting together on opposite ends, and price is now right at that transition place, so it's just going to bounce up and down. Okay, let's see if we get a push out of this area and a close above. Okay, we did not get a close above, but we did get a push out of the zone. So let's now wait for the next candle to close. Excuse me for just one moment. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see where we are now. Oh, okay. Okay, so we had a retracement all the way down to about where the entry point was, where we all were looking at going long. Let's put the Fibonacci back on. See where we are as far as retracement is concerned. Okay, we are approaching 70%. We have passed 62% already. We just had a reaction off of the midpoint of this fair value gap. Subsequently, just shot through it, past the 70% retracement level. 70.8. Exactly. Quarter, the low, 801 and a quarter. Okay, so this wick, this last wick we got on this candle, exactly 70.8% retracement. And right now we're seeing some reaction from it. We haven't taken out a high, so we can be confident that we're back bullish. But we did have a retracement to 70.8 exactly, and then a reaction out of that for so far about 15 points. Okay, let's remove this line. Let's go back down to our scalping Fibonacci. The total price is able to make this new high and then continue bullish for the next level. Okay. We saw this fair value gap created. It traded down to the extreme, to the upper extreme. And now it's now buying into this fair value gap. It closed above 50%. Let's see what the next candle does. We're getting close to the range of where I exited the trade I was in earlier. I exited over here during these sort of up wicks. Price retrace all the way back down to give the same entry. So anyone who got in on the second entry, you should be up around 20 points now. Okay, let's see if this candle can close above. Looking good so far. Looking really good, actually. Let's go ahead and clean that up. Okay, let's now stretch this bearish one away. This was what held up price last time. You saw 6 or 7 attempts to get through this fair value gap, all rejection candles with up wicks, and you saw then price follow for a 70.8% retracement. All right, taking a peek at the time, we're now at 3 o'clock, a couple minutes afterwards. So we should see price make its final move during this hour. All right, everyone in the room, if this is your first go at it, you could do me a favor, hit the like button. Let's see if we can get a few more people to join us for this final hour of trading for this week. Whenever you smash the like button, YouTube uses that to send out the suggestion and recommendation to others searching for the same criteria. So hopefully we can get a few more live traders in the room, or those who just want to watch live trading. And if you're enjoying the session so far, and this again is your first couple times joining, consider subscribing so you can get invitations for future live sessions. Let's move this over, see if it holds. I'm going to close above if it's going to hold. Okay, we seem to have gotten that. Yeah, thanks to everyone who liked the video. I appreciate it. All right, I'll remove this fair value gap because it didn't hold. We have another one just below and an even larger one below that. Just in case this one comes into play, we want to make sure that it's in view, just in case price penetrates that low. All right, we had a tap into the larger area, the larger fair value gap area. We had so far a good reaction out of it. Let's just see how this candle closes and then what follows. Trading platform. I am using TradingView, and then I have a combine with Topstep, which Topstep allows you to connect to TradingView through a third party called Tradovate, which is also another broker. But good question, RT. Thanks for joining the channel. I think this is the first time I've seen a comment from you. So welcome. If RT, I have links to both in my description if you're interested in using TradingView if you're not currently using it. Okay, I just wanted to see where 50% of the wick was. Okay, that didn't matter. Completely pour through it. All right, we still have the 830 open at 16,807. And we have our last line of defense, this fair value gap down here at 16,802. Oh, you're using Thinkorswim. Okay, got it. Now I've never used that platform, so I'm not familiar with it. I want to thank everyone so far who's joined us this afternoon, and those are who are still in the room. I know it's Friday afternoon, and people want to get their weekend started and start having a bit of fun. But I do thank you for being here with me. Okay, looks like we got a reaction off of the 830. You'll see sort of this dotted purple line. This is 830 right here at 16,807. We're to trade down to it a little bit below, but then a strong reaction back into this fair value gap that didn't hold. Fair value gap was reclaimed, and now we're at trading higher. So I was going to delete this fair value gap, but I'll keep it since it seems like it was reclaimed. But we'll keep monitoring just in case it trades below. Okay, twice we had price trade into this fair value gap above, up at 16,826. And we had it fail at 440. I'm sorry, at 240. And now we also had it fail just after 3 o'clock. Let's see if it can make another attempt. And if it does, what does it do? We have a rather large fair value gap that it's in right now. Hmm. We did on the 4 hour. We did have a pretty large fair value gap that it was trading into today. It traded out of. Actually, it traded into it yesterday at 10 o'clock, and it kind of hovered around even though it was buying up because it's a bullish fair value gap. That's the only one that I saw today is the 4 hour. Let me check the hour and just make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah. The one on a 1 hour, I mean, it traded well below, even though it didn't close below the fair value gap, but it traded, the wick is pretty long. But yeah, not a lot of gaps today. Okay, we're in between this zone. Let's take a peek, see where we are. We're nearing the 50% mark. Okay. Nice reaction off of the 50% mark of this fair value gap. Also, we were what, one tick away from the 50% mark of this range here. Good reaction so far. Okay, we got a close above. We also swept this high here. Let's see if we get a continuation. Yep. Okay, let's get rid of this fair value gap here just to clean up our screen a bit. Okay, we don't need this anymore. Let's drop this. Stretch this over so we can see if price gets hung up on it any longer. I have a feeling this is his third go at it, that if it can get up to 50% of this fair value gap, it just may end up on the other side. See if we can get that final push. Get over the edge and start trading above 16,830. Yes, yes, I am trading futures. It's just the Nasdaq 100 futures. Yep, some others in the room are trading the S&P. Let's see if we can get some speed and power. Push through these levels. There we go. Oh no, we need a close above. Come on, keep pushing. There you go. Hopefully the bulls are winning. Or at least those who are in trades are hoping the bulls continue to win. Okay, we at least made a new high for the afternoon. Well, I'll take that back. We made a new high in the last couple hours. We were a little higher at 130. Yeah, Annis, I think we were 2 ticks away or something like that. But the way I see it, 2 ticks is close enough for the objective to have been met. And so now so we had a high objective met where the highest value of the year and of the month and everything else was met earlier today. And then we also had the 20% retracement. So you had a low objective met for the week. Now, it's anyone's guess what price is doing since both of those objectives have been met. Yep, 1355. You're right. That last ditch effort to put a low in got us really, really close. Yep, 1355. That was it. And now we're about 70 points above that. So a pretty big rally after that. If anyone was onto that and knew what the TGI Friday was and took a buy out of that position. All right, let's see if we can get a closure above this fair value gap this time. Oh, the red box. The red box is fair value gap from quite a while ago over here from 1335. On the move down, there was a area here that didn't have any activity. This wick, this up wick, and this low wick, they're not touching or overlapping. So we have that gap. And then when we got to this side, every time we traded into it, a price rejected out. Traded again, and it rejected out. And now we're in for a third time. And finally, we got some speed and power. Chris, how's it going? Oh, Mathematical Genius has joined. Welcome back. Welcome back. I know he's been on several times this week. All right, Chris, where are you looking to exit? Where are you going with this trade? All right, now we can get rid of this box since it's been traded through and closed above. Potentially. I just deleted it, so but yes, I'm expecting price to hold above. I mean, we're now at 325. So whatever price wants to do, whatever the objective is for the close of the day, it needs to hurry up and get there. So I'm expecting price to stay above this fair value gap, reach for a higher target. Potentially on the 5 minute, we see we have a fair value gap at 842 and a quarter. So that may be our first area of resistance. If we can break through there, we have another area of resistance at 854 and a half. And then there's a third one up at 867 and a half. Diamond hands. Chris, yeah, you're definitely a strong one because through all this fluff, you stayed the course. Two, yeah, what it was, I think it was two. Yeah, two retracements and you stayed in. It pulled back to around the 800 level twice. Right, let's just mark up our fair value gaps as they appear, hoping that they hold price. On the move up, I didn't acknowledge when we had a swing low swept because I was, to be honest, I wasn't looking for the scalping setup, but I should have been. So we would have had a swing low swept here. We would have had a new high placed on this candle. Oops. Right. This candle here broke this high. And then we had a retracement down into the 30% range and a buy up after that. So we did have one set up not too long ago. that I just completely overlooked. So I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out so everyone was able to see it. Now I'm gonna clean up the screen a bit so we can continue watching price for the last half hour. See if we can get a few more people in the room and have the most concurrent viewers that we've had so far. See if we can get up to 20. Okay, if we peek down at the 5-minute, we haven't made it. We haven't traded up to any of the fair value gaps yet that we thought potentially could reject price. But I think I just saw price dip down below. Let's see if it bounced off of this fair value gap. And I was going to put it back up only because I was rereading Mathematical Genius's comment about it turning into an inversion gap. So it restricted price once we broke through. Now you want to see it come down and retest and see it hold this time. Leave that. We had this one reclaimed. All right, price is temporarily closed below. I think we got a second candle closing below. We still want to see if we can get back above and close above, reclaim that area. Continue to push for higher prices. Maybe this was a move just to kind of shake those who want to exit the market in profit. Just kind of get them to get out of the trade before seeking higher prices. For whatever reason, they can't shake Chris out of the market yet. Oh, did you? Oh, wow. So you're in for 3 contracts now? It looks like we got a little hang up somewhere. All right, there we go. Price is moving again. Okay, we were unable to reclaim that bearish fair value gap. The verdict's not out yet, but so far it's not looking favorable. Hmm. Keeps lagging. Yeah, I noticed that something wasn't working, and so I was testing my internet just to make sure everything was good, and now it seems like it's working better now. Give it a few seconds and let me know if it's still lagging. Trading volumes lower than you expected today. Yeah, it could have something to do with this being FOMC week. A lot of traders like to take the rest of the week off after FOMC on Wednesday afternoon. But it also could have something to do with the holidays. There could be a lot of reasons for lower volume today. Okay, we got a reclaimed area now. Let's see if it can close above. We did have a swing high taken, so that's at least positive. Okay, good job. Way to close above. Let's see if we can get a bounce off of this 50% level. Okay, and thanks for joining again. It's good talking to you all week. I'll catch you next week. Hopefully, I'll talk to you on the morning session on Monday. You're right. It is. We are sitting at the highs of the year, so you never know if it's going to go higher or if this is the apex, and then we're just going to have a sharp decline. But from my experience so far, picking tops and bottoms is not advised. If you see it trading higher, just go with the flow. All right, let's keep an eye on the time. It's now 3:40, 20 minutes left. Or 30 minutes left if you are thinking about Topstep or any of the other prop firms. They'll let you trade until 10 after the hour. Okay. See if it wants to continue its push up. Highs. All right. $60 scalp. All right. Here was a scalping setup. Let me just move this out of the way until everything's done so we can continue to monitor this fair value gap that it's sitting in. Let's see if it breaks these equal highs. All right, that can be a little bit more consolidation, but if prices, if there's a target or goal in mind, it's going to have to start running there pretty soon. There it was. There's a scalp. It delivered by 2 ticks, delivered 5 points and a quarter for anyone who wanted that trade at the 30% entry level. You took it at the 50% entry level. Of course, you won as well. And the 70%, I'm not sure that. Okay, the 70% also delivered. So anyone who took that trade for any of the retracement levels was a winner. Congratulations. And it retraced back down to the 50% level of this fair value gap that it's been playing off of ever since 240. So for the last hour, we've been right here. Right. Let's move that up. The next goal is to get through this high and then push through 839.5. Okay, got that. Let's now focus our attention over here. Mark up fair value gaps. Okay, here's another markup. See if it can deliver. There it is. Ooh, wow. All right, if you look down at the 5 minute to the bottom left, you can see that first fair value get level has been traded all the way through. Now we're approaching the second level at 854 3/4. It's a 5 minute candle, so we just had the first minute. That was the first minute of the candle was to break through that level. Now let's see what the rest of the candle does, whether it continues. Okay, there's the answer. Okay, we have two more levels that we could potentially visit. 854.5, 867.5 or 3/4. All right, let's keep an eye on the clock. We're now at 3:51. Chris, you should be up about 50 handles per contract now. Okay, it's traded through that second zone as well. Now doing a retracement, but it did max out on the other side of that fair value gap. Next level, 867. And our ultimate high for the week, for the year, is 887 and a quarter. So we're only about 20 points away from that if it wants to continue pushing higher at such a high velocity as it's doing right now. $70.5 lunchtime high. Okay. And mark that up. Lunchtime high. Okay, we got equal highs here. Most likely to be a target by price in the next couple minutes. Go ahead and mark that up as well. Anyone in trades may want to consider partials or closing their trade. You're now at 3:55. About 15 minutes left before the market closes for you. All right, we got a good amount of people here as we are closing out this Friday afternoon session. If you could hit the like button if you've enjoyed the session today, that'll help YouTube push out the video to others looking for similar sessions. Hopefully we can get the most likes of any video on my site. That currently is at 13. We need 3 more. And also, if you've enjoyed the session and you want to join more, consider subscribing to the channel so you can get invitations for all the live sessions. There's also a 30-minute reminder prior to the session beginning. So just in case you forgot, you'll get an alert on your phone or whatever device you use for YouTube, and it'll recommend the live stream for you. All right, I want to also thank everybody for joining today. We had a really good session, a lot of good dialogue in the chat, some good trades. I was able to rebound from yesterday's loss. We had some others in the channel who also talked about having some good trading days. One person in particular, if you scroll back through the chat, you'll see who it is. But he had a really good day where he maxed out his wins on his funded account, where he's now in the combine where you can only make 50% of the total combine value in one day. So he maxed out and switched over to his demo account so he can continue trading. Okay, we had a big decline here, big retracement down to this fair value gap. Let's see what the reaction is from there. Boom, right at the 50% mark. See if we get one final push, or if we'll get a failure on its way up, and then we'll get lower prices for the last 15 minutes of trading. We still have the lunchtime high marked up as a potential target at 870 and a quarter. So we're about 15 points away from that. Okay, we had the most recent low from 2 candles ago swept down to this fair value gap, and we see a rejection from there. Oh, the dollar rallied. Okay, got it. Hmm. Yeah, it looks like NQ was the only indice to make a new high today, new high of the week. All others high of the week came from, let's see. I'll take that back. The Dow made its high of the week this morning at 5 a.m. The S&P made its high of the week yesterday. But S&P was the only one not to make the high today. The Dow at 5 a.m. and NQ at 11 a.m. So they were not in sync as they typically are. And then you typically will see the opposite from the dollar. The dollar's been buying up all day. So that may be a reason why that may be a reason why the volume was lower, because you had a lot of traders just stay out of the market today because it wasn't correlated the way it normally is. All right, we got even lower values coming in now. So it looks like there's definitely a full retracement from what we saw earlier. Remember, we already saw the TGI Friday movement earlier down to the 760 level. But it doesn't mean that we can't see that level revisited again. Let's move over to fair value gaps that are still in play. A lot of times what you see in a late afternoon session is you'll see a deep retracement to try to catch traders that are trailing their stop loss. And then you'll see a huge candle moving to target towards the end once other traders are either exhausted or have abandoned their trade. It's 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Okay, we're getting a rejection out of here now. We get a close below. Then I'll cut the session. Let's just see where we end up. or if we can reclaim this level. All right, I'll give it one more candle. Righty. Doesn't look like we're going to get a lot of activity for the next 7 or 8 minutes until the prop firms close their markets, or the prop firm brokers close their markets for traders. So what I'm going to do is use this moment now to say thank you all for a great week of trading. We had a really good week. We had a lot of energy in our room, a lot of good questions, good feedback. Different style traders, which is good. We all don't need to trade the same way. We can still help one another with what we're seeing. Everyone sees the market differently. And so I'm really proud of the channel and how it's developed, and for everyone who's contributed. So thank you very much for being here this week. We had 10 good sessions, morning and afternoon, for the whole week. We'll try to do this again next week. I'll send out invites as soon as we get off the session. I'll put in the invites for next week. And so everyone who subscribed will get those, plus the reminders. And yeah, it was a good week. I really enjoyed it, and thank you all so much for making it that way. All right, so until we meet next week, take care. Have a good weekend, everyone.